So I got there about 5:30 in the morning and ran 9 holes. I think I shot like 90 or 100. I was useless. I was overweight, so I was out of breath. I suffered from asthma, so I was having like minor asthma attacks. I was a mess, but I finished that 9th hole and I loved it. And I remember getting home and speaking to Kelly, my wife, and saying, I don't know why I loved it, but I loved it. And then since then, I've probably done it every week since then.
What's up, golfers everywhere? We're back this week for episode 23. I'm Scott Dolly, your co-host of the Pace of Change Golf Podcast. Now, we all know golf is 90% mental. I mean, nobody questions that cliche, right? But is it really? I mean, a sports psychologist is going to argue that all day long. But go ask a child. Go ask a beginner. Do you think they would agree? That's not what I remember golf being like when I was growing up. I sucked at golf. My swing was long at the top, way across the line. I was swaying back and forth, but I didn't know it. And honestly, I didn't really care. I just couldn't wait for the next swing when I made perfect contact and felt that indescribable feeling we've all experienced. It's what keeps us coming back, right? So, is it possible? Ask yourself this. Is it possible the heart of the game has been sacrificed at the altar of the mind? The mystery of performance at the altar of science? Steve says he didn't know why he loved speed golf after finishing his first round. He's sweating, his heart's beating a mile a minute, he's out of breath, useless even, he says. But I'll tell you why. Steve was playing from the heart. And golf is a sport that is meant to be played from the heart. It's just like life. Life's meant to be lived from the heart, and that's why those two things are often compared to each other. It's why I play speed golf, and it's the main reason why we started this podcast. It's not about success, it's not about metrics, it's not even about money. It's about love. And love is not 90% mental. It's all heart. So are you ready? We do it fast, we make it fun, turn it up, and enjoy episode 23 with British Speed Golf Ambassador Steve Jeffs. Hey, what's up, everybody? Just want to take a second here and say thank you to all of our podcast sponsors, affiliates, and guests that have been on in the first 23 episodes. Did you know we have exclusive discounts on our website, paceofchange.com? Check it out. Rival and Revel has a silo golf club carrier, just innovative way for speed golfers to get around the golf course efficiently. It's also great if you're going out to the range and you only want a few clubs. I won't go into them all, but Links Run is a new innovative golf course running event racing group coming to a city near you very soon. Sterling Irons, single length irons. We had Jacob Bowden on in episode 8. Laserlink Golf, Rob O'Laughlin, just an innovator in the golf industry. He's got some really great products there. 25% off. Encore Golf Balls, get a discount on really the newest, latest, greatest golf balls that perform as good or even better than Titleist Pro V1. Taylor Brands, get a logo for $25 from them, and it uses an artificial intelligence engine. Strikingly.com, an affiliate of ours. If you need a website today, you can have it. It will be beautiful, and you don't need any coding experience. Also, Hazel.com. Don't pay $75 for a lesson when you can use technology today. We got a discount there for you as well. So be sure to check that out. It's on our podcast sponsors and affiliates page at paceofchange.com. Well, Steve, it's a pleasure to have you on the podcast. Thanks for coming on, and I've been following you actually on social media and kind of watching what you're doing with speed golf. I know you're a massive, huge fan of it. I consider you an ambassador of it, and not only that, but you are out there sharing it with other people, and you're out there sharing it with different brands, kind of forward-thinking brands and innovative brands in the golf industry over there. So that's what I look forward to finding out more about.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, it's good.
tell me and tell the listeners a little bit about who you are, what you do, what you're passionate about, what your hobbies are, and why you love golf and speed golf so much.
Okay. Well, I'm a PE teacher and a very average. I was a very average football player or soccer player for you guys.
Sure.
And I had a horrendous knee injury when I was about 22, 23. The type that when you're sort of on the floor, you're gripping hold of the grass, like just try and find an ounce of a part of your body that isn't in pain. It was horrendous, and after about a year of physio and getting fit, I went back to football or soccer again, and did the whole thing all over again. I lasted I lasted about 2 games, and then it just went again, and I had to have a load of surgery, and I pretty much gave up. I mean, I quit football because of my job, because my boss was getting a bit annoyed at work, and it was annoying me because I was trying to teach sport and trying to teach lessons on crutches. Never a good look for a PE teacher. And then after about 4 or 5 years of just getting a bit overweight and not really doing a lot, I was still playing a bit of golf, but I was overweight. And then all of a sudden I found Speedgolf.
Wow.
And then the last couple of years has sort of changed things quite a lot.
Okay, so let me ask you a few questions. Number one, to go back to the injury. Sorry to make you relive it, but was it a contact injury, or was it just a twisting of the knee? Did you come into contact with somebody else, or did they just basically take your knee out?
Yeah, well, it was my fault, really. I was a defender, so I always sort of went in hard and went in for contact. Quite enjoyed that part of the game, and but as I got a bit older, I sort of lost my bottle a little bit, and I finally had a tackle where I sort of didn't go in 100%, pulled out just a little bit. The other guy went in 100%, and that was it. Just it wasn't even that. I mean, the tackle from the other guy wasn't even that bad. It was just I didn't go in fully committed, and the knee twisted. My stud's stuck in the ground as well.
Yeah,
and I fully ruptured my ACL, which for those people who don't know is just your cruciate ligament that goes straight through the centre of your knee.
Mm-hmm.
The only way I can describe it is it's like the mechanics in your knee just don't exist anymore, and your knee just goes wobbly, and you go to walk or step sideways, and your whole leg just gives way, and you end up falling over. So
now, did you have aspirations? Was this more like club ball, or were you thinking, I really love this sport, I'm looking to kind of take it to the next level?
I did as a kid.
Yeah.
As a kid, as most kids do, you want to be a professional in whatever sport you love.
Yeah.
I was always fairly down to earth, and my parents were pretty good. They kept me in education. So as soon as I got to about 16, I kind of realised it wasn't really going to happen. But I always liked the idea of competing as high as I possibly could.
Yeah.
And when I left university, I was playing for one of my local sides where my brother-in-law was the captain, and there was a few guys that I knew there, and we actually had a really good team. We got, I think it was 2 or 3 seasons in a row we got promoted. So we're kind of flying up the leagues locally and making a bit of a name for ourselves. And I was playing some of the best stuff I've ever played. I was scoring goals from defence, and just loving sport. And then all of a sudden, like injuries do, they knock your confidence, they knock your everything.
Yeah, they do.
You don't feel like doing anything. It holds you back. So it was never ever going to be a profession. My profession was always going to be in teaching, but I certainly wouldn't have given it up if I didn't have an injury. I'd probably still be playing now.
I'm interested to know what the football culture is like over there. I mean, over here there's a lot of sports where you might play in college. That's a high level for most people, and then it just shrinks down to where there's less than 1% of those. highly skilled athletes are going on to the professional level. And really, in a lot of sports, if you're not there, then you just kind of move on with life. And, if
Yeah,
you play basketball, maybe you get into a weekly kind of pickup game at the gym or 24-hour fitness or whatever. Is it the
yeah,
same there where as you graduate and get a job and whatever, you still are, if you love the sport, you still find there are ways to be involved and play in leagues and that kind of thing?
yeah. Your college sport's very different to our university or college sport.
Yeah.
I mean, you can compete nationally, and the standard's quite high, but I mean, it's not followed by a big fan base. If you're going to compete at a high standard at college level, perhaps you might get the opportunity to jump on board at the professional level, but you're talking one in a million. It's just so cutthroat.
Yeah.
To give you an example, when I was at school as a teenager, the whole spine of our team were all at professional clubs, and only one of those lads made it to like a full contract, and he lasted about a year, and then he got released, and as far as I know, has not played any professional football since. And that's just one team in a little town in the southwest of England. It's tough, and I mean the culture of football basically is you could get a class of 30 students. I mean, I've got a class of 30 students. Every single one of them would have played football as a kid.
Yep.
Every single one of them would have played. I mean, I keep saying football, but it's soccer.
No, I get it.
Yeah, football. Yeah, it's almost like a religion.
It's massive. Yeah, it's massive.
It's nuts over it. Although the football fans aren't doing themselves any favours out in the European Championships at the moment. I don't know if you've seen any of that, but yeah, it's like a religion. It's mad.
I haven't watched much. I did see the USA beat Uruguay the other day or something like that, so that was cool for us to win a game. But what do you think separates? I know in golf, like if you talk about what separates, the mini tour players from the professionals or collegiate golfers to professional golfers, it comes down to a matter of either like a stroke per round or a fraction of a stroke per round. It's that one up and down, or it's that 4-footer that you missed. What is it in football that separates the guys that almost made it to the guys that are playing at the highest level?
Oh, great question.
It's probably not as tangible as that. It's got to be this because you get picked by teams, don't you? I mean, you try out and you get picked. Yeah.
Yeah, you have big trials set up, and at cup finals and things, you'll have scouts, watching your every move, and if they have a good opinion of you, you can go far. If they don't, you kind of just get ignored. But in my day, I think they used to look for people who are big and strong, and then like the polar opposite of that, so people who are small and technical. Whereas these days, speed seems to be everything. In fact, I had a guy at work just email me with a list of the kids in our county, in our area, and 3 of our lads have been selected, and they just happened to be the 3 quickest lads.
Yeah.
So football's changed over the years, probably the last 5 to 10 years, and it's all about speed.
Yeah.
So you basically, if you can build a team for the sprinters, you're probably going to do well. It probably replaces strength in a way.
Yeah.
Because quite often the strong guys used to be slow, so that's one way of getting over. If you're playing against a stronger team, you can get past them with your speed.
If you're going to go play football, let's say you're your age now, you want to go play in a game down the street or whatever, how long will a game last?
Well, football's 90 minutes, but I mean, as a kid, outside of the technology generation, I'd get up in the morning, I'd ring all my mates. I was always the one organising, so I'd ring all my mates and sort it all out.
Yeah.
I'd quite often bring, like, my dad used to run one of the local youth teams, so I used to bring, like, goal nets, like, drag them on my shoulder and drag them up the street, and I'd put them up on the goal myself. And then all my mates and me go, "Oh, you've bought the nets, brilliant." None of them would ever help me put them up.
Yeah.
And then we'd play all day.
Oh gosh, that's
You'd
awesome.
get there 9, 10 o'clock. You wouldn't eat, you wouldn't drink. You would stay there till 5 or 6 o'clock at night until you're exhausted.
It sounds like so much fun.
Oh yeah, it was great. Absolutely brilliant. It doesn't happen quite so much these days. I sometimes see the kids at work hanging around. They might last an hour or two, and then they go home. But when you're playing and you're competing, it's never beyond 90 minutes.
So tell me then, what was your introduction to the game of golf? You know, did your dad play it? Did your parents play it? What was your first memory of the game of golf? Was it on TV or was it going to play it?
I think it was going to play it. My dad was a keen golfer. I mean, he started late, but he was quite keen on it when he was about 30, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
And he dragged me up to one of the local golf clubs. I didn't even know what golf was. And he sort of just put me in a lesson when there was 20-old kids. And I didn't have a clue what's going on. I was just smashing balls up the driving range. And every now and again, the pro came up to me and told me to do something, and I just did it. And I think I had that eureka moment where you just strike one sweet and it flies lovely and it's up in the air and
that's it.
You know, it curves slightly, whether it's slice or draw, and you just think, oh, okay, that was pretty cool. And
I want to do that again.
Yeah. I do have memories though of watching. I think it was the US Open where Tiger Woods was in a playoff with. You might be able to help me here. American guy used to wear big sunglasses, took up half his face.
Oh, David Duval? Did they?
David Duval, yeah. I'm sure they had a playoff.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it's like over in America, but we love to hate Tiger Woods over here.
Oh, I did not know that.
We often root against him, although I still quite like to watch him. But so we all rooted for David Duval, and he was playing awesome, but Tiger Woods just outdid him.
Yeah.
And I remember being hooked to the TV for hours watching that. I was at the fire station, which is where my dad worked, so I actually cycled to the fire station, watched that with the old man and his mates.
That's so cool.
And so that was kind of my first memory, roughly, of watching golf, and my first memory of playing as well.
And how proficient have you gotten at the game? What kind of handicap do you carry?
Just gone down to 8.6.
Nice.
I've been down. The lowest I've been is 8.
Yeah.
Although I get really frustrated because I find it hard to find the time to play in enough comps to bring my handicap down.
Yeah.
I like to think I could sort of compete and play off about 6 or 7.
Yeah.
I mean, last year I only played in 7 tournaments all year. This year I'm planning on playing a few more, but I mean I looked at our local order of merit, and I'm about 15th at the moment, and I've only played 2 comps this season.
Yeah.
And the guy who's top's already played 9. So I'm always quite far behind in getting competitions under my belt.
How often are they? So they're having competitions every week or a couple times a month? I mean, my gosh, yeah.
I mean every weekend there's a comp. Most Wednesday afternoons there's a 9-hole comp, which in theory is great because you can do it in 2 hours. It can count towards your handicap, which would be great for me because I'd like to get mine down. But to try and actually get out there with work and family life and all that, it's just I find it very difficult.
Yep, that's a common. That's obviously a common complaint. So that brings us right into Speedgolf. So
yeah, it certainly does.
I'm interested in your introduction to this game.
Yeah. Well, we just had my daughter Ava. She must have only been 6 months old.
Mm-hmm.
So we were still sleep deprived and very much delusional as human beings.
I've got 3, so I get it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you understand that. Yeah, it's. I mean, I've only got 1. I don't know how you deal with 3. But,
me neither.
Yeah, I was sort of just sitting in bed with my wife one evening and just scrolling the internet, And I think it was on Facebook, and an advert just popped up for British Speedgolf.
Yeah.
And like everybody says, I said, what the hell is Speedgolf? Started clicking on it, and then found YouTube videos of yourself, Rob Hogan, then found like a highlight reel of, I think it was 2012, where he had really good TV coverage.
Yeah, the CBS special, yeah.
Yeah, I think I ended up, my wife fell asleep, I think I ended up on the internet for about 3 or 4 hours.
Awesome.
Just thinking, this looks brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm well impressed. I couldn't believe I'd never thought of it. So I contacted British Speedgolf, expecting it to be, elite guys running around and professional golfers, and I asked, like, could I get tickets to come and watch? And British Speedgolf's run by a lady called Pam.
Yep.
Real nice lady. She's been really approachable and really friendly. And she turned around and said, "Why don't you play?" Which kind of spat my drink out as she said it. Didn't really ever cross my mind me playing it, and once someone sort of says something like that to me, I'm always like, in the back of my mind, like, right, okay, that's a challenge, so I've got to do that now. And yeah, that was it. I went out and had a practice round a couple of days later, and it was we sort of had the light weather like we've got now, but my local club at the time, very, very traditional. I was worried about running around. So I got there about 5:30 in the morning, and around 9 holes, I think I shot like 90 or 100. I was useless. I was overweight, so I was out of breath. I suffer from asthma, so I was having like minor asthma attacks. I was a mess.
Yeah.
But I finished that 9th hole and I loved it.
Yeah.
I remember getting home and speaking to Kelly, my wife, and saying, I don't know why I loved it, but I loved it.
Yep.
And then since then, I've probably done it every week since then.
Oh my gosh! And how long ago was that? Was that a couple? Was that like 2 years ago?
That was 2014.
Yeah.
So I managed to get in about 4 or 5 practice rounds before the British Championships.
Mm-hmm.
So I travelled to Sussex near London.
Yeah, where are you located, by the way?
I'm in Devon in the southwest.
Okay.
Which, in terms of sort of geography,
yeah,
it's about 4-hour drive, 4.5 hour drive to London.
Okay.
So it's a bit of a trip. Well, a bit of a trip for us in England. We're not used to travelling too far. So yeah, went up to the British Championships with the idea of, please don't finish last. I'll take second from last. I think there was about 20 or 30 people competing. And then I ended up finishing 5th. I couldn't believe it. Yeah,
that's amazing.
I know, and because it was amazing because our practice rounds were so terrible. I wasn't confident at all, and like I've said a couple of times, I was overweight. I wasn't fit, and I just went on the idea that I was just going to plod along. I wouldn't let myself stop jogging, and try and play fairly good golf. Now I look back at it, the golf wasn't that good, but it was good enough in 2014 to finish 5th. So,
I'm interested to know, did Speedgolf? So, how much weight have you lost since then? You're not overweight anymore, are you? You don't look overweight.
No. I've lost just over a stone in weight.
How many pounds is that? I don't know.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, exactly.
And people keep asking me that, and I'm terrible with the conversion.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how many pounds it is without Googling it.
Let's find this out. How many pounds is a stone? Okay, 1 stone equals 14 pounds.
Yeah. And I wasn't really trying to. I wasn't that fussed about losing weight, if I'm honest. I just ran.
Yeah.
Kept on running, kept on playing speed golf. Next time I knew I'd lost a stone. Probably just over a stone.
Love it.
And I think I've put a little bit of weight back on, but I think that's muscle because I've done quite a lot of speed training this year and a little bit of weightlifting and just changed it up a little bit this year.
Yeah.
I think I've put a little bit back on, but I think that'll probably... I'm sort of in the next cycle of my training ready for the British Championship, so I think I'll probably drop that off again in the next few weeks.
Yeah, the same thing happened to me this winter. I I kind of let myself go a little bit because I had been working real hard for 3 years on, just
Yeah.
being super fit and speed golf and all that kind of stuff. And I just thought, I'm going to take a little break. And man, before you knew it, a couple months went by, I'd gained 20 pounds.
It's nuts, isn't it? It is.
Oh my gosh.
And I don't know about you, but I felt miserable when I stopped at the end of last season when I sort of had a break from it.
Yeah.
I think I took about 4 weeks where I didn't run. I didn't really do any speed golf, not any proper speed golf. And at the end of that 3 or 4 weeks, I was miserable.
Yeah, me too.
My wife just told me, "Oh, can you just start training again, please?" I was becoming unbearable.
That is so true, man. It is. So
I'll tell you one.
Yeah.
One thing I must say, because I know there's a lot of runners. When I first started running, I did a park run in Wales. I was with my brother-in-law, and he was doing quite a bit of running at the time. And I said to him, "I'll be very happy if I do 5K in under 30 minutes."
Mm-hmm.
And I think I clocked in at 28 minutes and 30 seconds, something like that. And I was quite happy.
Wow.
And then I realised when I looked at the list that comes through on the website, and I realised it wasn't that great a score. I sort of started setting myself targets, and I got down to 24 minutes for a 5K at the end of 2014. 2015 I got to 22 minutes, I think it was. And then this year, at the end of this summer, I wanted to run a 20-minute 5K, and I've already done it. I did it about a month ago.
Congrats, man! That's a massive improvement.
I never ever thought I would be a 20-minute 5K runner. As a kid, I was never that quick, but I was more of a sprinter than I was an endurance athlete.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was pretty chuffed with that a few weeks ago when I achieved that.
I mean, if you can run a 20-minute 5K, your run time is going to be at this point in kind of the evolution of speed golf. That's competitive. It's absolutely competitive.
Yeah. Well, I saw the times that you guys were running, and I never really expected to get down to the times. Like Rob Hogan, for example, was stupidly quick.
Oh my gosh! I mean,
yeah. But I just wanted to sort of give myself a chance, and I thought it's far easier knocking minutes off of time running than it is knocking shots off your score. So I've ran myself into the ground.
It still amazes me. I mean, I'm 38 now, and I think if I worked really hard, I could. Actually, one of my goals is to break 18 minutes in a 5K. I just ran I did a little race on Saturday to kind of see where I was. I ran a 20-minute 5K. It was super humid, super hot. So I think maybe 19:30 would have been. I'd have been really happy with that.
Yeah.
But then you start thinking about knocking that 90 seconds off a 5K, and it's like, oh my gosh.
No.
Man. But you got Rob Hogan running a 15.5-minute 5K.
Yeah,
There's just no way. I mean, it's never going to happen. I can train all day long, and I'll never get there.
I saw, can't remember where it was now, I saw one of Rob Hogan's 5K times, and I sort of broke it down to 1 kilometre and tried to give it a go, and just ended up on the floor in the gym in a bit of a mess. And like you say, when I'm running 5K, I start sort of setting mini targets throughout the run.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like an endurance or a long or middle distance run. It feels like a sprint, trying to do it that quick.
Yeah.
But it's certainly good fun.
What does your training look like as somebody who's got a full-time job, as somebody who's got a family and other responsibilities, and yet golf and speed golf is important to you? So how do you break that training down? You said you're focusing more on your sprint work this year. So what does that look like?
Okay, so what I do is I set like a 6 or 8 week plan, and I base my plan just on running, with the idea of at least once a week going out and doing a midweek 9-hole run, and then most weeks at the weekend I'll do an 18-hole run, which is difficult, particularly with my job, because I have to commute an hour to my workplace as well.
Mm-hmm.
So in the week, quite often I'll wake up at 5:15, and I'll either go out for a run just locally.
Yeah.
Just do a half an hour, nothing too major. Probably is about 5K. I end up doing. I do it quite slow. Or I'll quickly drive up to the golf club and play 9 holes speed golf.
Mm-hmm.
Tee off about 5:30, 5:45. Play 9 holes, and then I'm probably running. At the moment, I'm supposed to be running about 4 times a week, and I try to put one long run in there.
Yeah.
I don't particularly like running 10K, if I'm honest, but I'll do the odd sort of 8 or 10K every now and again.
Well, that's good. You bump it up a little bit. You know, I always think that's important before events. I go out and I don't do every run like that, but yeah, I'll run a couple 8 or 10 mile runs to get used. Not a lot of them, but just some longer runs, because when I get on the golf course, I want to be on 15 or 16 and feel like, I got plenty left. Yeah, I got plenty left in me. You know, so go ahead and give it all you got. You know.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. My problem is I'm quite impatient, and my wife would probably describe it as quite childish, and I just get bored.
Yeah.
I just want to run flat out, play golf, and then the idea of going out and running long distances.
Yeah, for like an hour or hour and a half.
Yeah, it doesn't excite me, but
yeah.
I do it every now and again just to sort of punish myself in a way.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's definitely not something for speed golf. You know, when I got really into fitness and really into running, I found that I was enjoying going further and further and further, because I put on the headphones and I'll listen to a podcast or just jump into some good music and kind of let it ride.
Yeah.
I always have great times of like contemplation. I feel like I can just let everything go, you know. So I enjoy the experience, but I started being able to run 10, 12, 14 miles and pretty fast, you know, like a 7-minute pace. And then I started swimming. And then I thought, man, I'm only kind of one sport away from being able to do a triathlon. And then I kind of slapped myself on the side of the head and said, wait, you're a speed golfer. None of that. You don't have time to do all that and be a great speed golfer. So I kind of started to dial it back down again. So,
I used to work with a British triathlete. She's called Natasha Blunt, and she worked with us for a couple of years. And she was great to talk to for training, because I'd quite often say to her, right, what should I be running for 5K, or what trainer should I be getting? So I kept on talking to a triathlete and to get advice. So I've found quite a lot of my advice has come from athletes rather than golfers in when it comes to speed golf.
Oh, yeah.
And then the advice on the golf side of things, I've mainly spoke to speed golfers instead of pro golfers, because of the tiny little things that help you speed, like for example not having a club head cover on and things like that. I've learned a lot of tips from speed golfers rather than golfers. And then the fitness side of things, I've learned quite a lot from athletes and triathletes. So yeah.
At some point, you kind of reach your speed goals, like running a 20-minute 5K, and at that point then it just becomes, how can I get my transition from running to hitting the ball from 15 seconds to 12 seconds to 10 seconds to 7 seconds? If I watch Rob Hogan, 5 to 7 seconds. Bags down, hits the shot, grabs the bag. It all happens in 7 seconds.
Yeah.
Might take me 10 or 12 sometimes, especially on the greens. And if you add that up over 18 holes, that's where I find, 4.5 minutes of the 8 minutes that I'm going slower than him. Yeah.
Yeah, I generally, as I approach the ball, start counting down from 10 and like to be hitting it within the 10 seconds.
That's great.
I also find it helps keep my rhythm with my swing.
Yeah.
But like you say, every now and again, you're onto the top of the hill, you might take a cheeky 12, 15 seconds. Yeah.
Have you found that playing speed golf has improved your golf swing, has improved your handicap? Have you found that it makes your traditional golf game better?
Yeah. I've been stuck on a 9 handicap, basically for about 8 years. And I basically got to the point where I couldn't shoot a good round in a comp. It was doing my head in a little bit psychologically.
Yep.
And you mentioned earlier playing Speedgolf sort of took you back to being like a kid, and it was exactly the same for me. Just went out and started enjoying golf properly again. And because you can only have 7 clubs in the bag, I started being creative again. I started going back out playing normal golf with that creativity and that enjoyment. And at the time, the handicap had gone right back up to 10, which I was really annoyed with because I wanted to be single figure. And all of a sudden, I started shooting good scores in competitions. Handicap started dropping again, got back down to 8. Had the odd dodgy round.
Sure.
Yeah, but who doesn't?
Yeah.
Didn't bother me too much. And then actually, a couple of weeks ago, I won my first comp in God knows how many years. So, it's. I've spoken to a couple of people who've sort of been in a similar situation, getting fed up with it. And I've tried to convince them.
Yeah.
If you try a little bit of speed golf, even if you're not keen on the running, just try and play quicker.
Yes.
You'll find it helps. It's definitely helped me, without a doubt.
You mentioned that the golf course that you play at is super traditional, which, Pam, I know Pam well, and she just mentioned, basically over there in the UK, it's kind of that way. It's super, traditional, and that's understandable. But I want to know how you first pitched it to your golf course and how they received it. And now that you've been out there doing it on a weekly basis, how has their opinion of speed golf changed, if at all?
Well, it didn't. I was at a golf club, a local golf club, and I asked the manager there at the time, look, I'm getting into the speed golf, I'd quite like to sort of treat it semi-serious and do a lot of training. Would you allow me to run on the course? And he said, I'll take it to the committee and we'll talk about it in the meeting. Never really got back to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw him again a month or so later and said, any news on whether I can run? He said, I'll have to take it to the committee meeting. And I kind of felt like I was being ignored.
Yeah.
And I got literally the same day, I got straight on the phone to another local golf course called Pabrook in Clumpton. And they'd just taken on foot golf.
Yes.
So I knew they were quite open-minded. And I heard they were quite a friendly course and, there were some good people there. And the guy I spoke to, a guy called Kerry Rawlins, who's the head greenkeeper there, a very good golfer, he said, yeah, come on down and sort of, come meet us and we'll have a chat. And literally there and then just said, yeah, we'll let you do basically whatever you want.
Yeah.
They said, you can come play at midnight, you can come play at 6 o'clock in the morning, basically play whenever I like. So timing wasn't an issue, whereas at my previous club, you weren't allowed to tee off until 7. So they were just really accommodating, and I basically shook his hand there and then and left my previous course and went straight to Pabrook.
Yep.
And not looked back since.
Yeah, that's awesome. Have you found any other golfers to play speed golf with, or have any other golfers come along and said, I want to give that a try?
I had there was one guy who decided to come give it a try. It's called Callum Knight, and if he's listening, he needs to come back and play again. Because he is...
Come on, Callum.
He's super talented sportsman, all-round sportsman.
Yeah.
He's a great golfer. He used to play off 2. He doesn't play so much golf anymore, so golf's a bit erratic now. But he's one of these guys who's like 6'4" and built for running. So I went out with him a few times in Minehead, and it was great fun. We did alternate shot, and I think we did it 2 or 3 times, and he loved it. And he said he was going to go to the British Championships, and he was up for it. But then, the cricket season kicked in, and all of a sudden he was up for cricket, and the golf kind of fell away a little bit. But he came out and joined me and loved it. Other than that, I've had a couple of guys say, they're interested and like to give it a go, and I'm hoping we'll do that in the next few weeks. But other than that, to get interest is I found it quite difficult.
Yeah, it's like a one-off. You find one person to play it, and they get into it, and then they invite a friend down the road, and it just happens it's happening one person at a time.
Yeah.
At this point, and I think that's going to be changing really soon. I'm excited about that with some opportunities that have come up. And even over there, I don't know if you've heard of Sprint 6 Golf, which kind of just hit the wire last week. There was a well-known football player, I think, that...
Yeah, Gareth Bale plays for Wales.
Yeah.
And Real Madrid. Yeah, he's probably up there with sort of top 5, top 10 footballers in the world right now, and he's sort of a big celebrity here in the UK. He's helping push it, isn't he?
Yeah, so they're calling that kind of the golf cricket 2020, which it's not speed golf, but it doesn't matter. It's getting people time focused and oriented on time and using the shot clock. I think it's great. I'm excited to see how that progresses.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see if some golfers off the back of playing some Sprint 6 think, actually, I play quite good golf going quick. Maybe I would be good at the speed golf, and hopefully it might snowball off the back of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the other thing I've noticed is that you have started to build relationships with a couple of golf brands. Tell me a little bit about that and kind of what prompted you to do that.
Well, last year after the British Championships, I invented my own illness, which I called, I can't remember what I called it now. That's how ridiculous it is. I basically just said I was depressed because the British Championships was over and I had to wait another year. So I called it Speedgolf depression or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think I tweeted that I was suffering from post-Speedgolf depression. And I can't remember whether the guys in Sweden got hold of me or whether someone spoke to me about the guys in Sweden about an event coming up and I got hold of them. I can't remember which way around it happened. Anyway, their championships was coming up about a month or so after the British Championships. And I got talking to them and they just said, why don't you come along? And I never even sort of dreamt about going abroad and playing or travelling across Europe or anything like that. And suddenly thought, you know what, I'm going to give this a go. I've got a camper van as well. So I thought, worst comes to worst, I'll just drive all the way to Sweden.
Wow.
So I got on Twitter and started tweeting a few companies to see if I could get some help. And Royal and Awesome, the clothing company, have been really good to me. And they've sent me loads of clothes and sort of helped me out that way.
Yeah.
I had a golf ball company help me last year called Chip Ing Golf Ball. And they've designed a golf ball that's got a microchip in it that your iPhone can search for the ball. So they're selling it as you'll never lose your golf ball again. Those guys helped me out. And there was a couple of other companies that sort of helped me out as well.
Yeah.
But financially, I didn't really get much support. But I was really lucky because I found flights from London to Sweden super cheap. They're like 20 or 30 quid.
Whoa.
Which that was the clincher because driving all the way to Sweden for like 24, 48 hours was always going to be a bit nuts.
Yeah.
But as soon as I saw the flights, I thought, well, that's, like pocket money really. I couldn't believe how cheap it was. So I gave it a go. Because it was cheap, my dad came with me as well. Yeah, we went out there and absolutely loved it. And I promised Royal and Awesome and a couple of other guys I'd put some photos out on social media, and they've sort of stuck by me since. So
yeah, and they are all about speed golf. I mean, do they like the concept?
Yeah, well, Royal and Awesome, they're really good because they like the other side of golf, not like the traditional side. So I've seen they've got quite a lot of trick shot guys that they've sort of got on board with recently, and yeah, they enjoy the fun side of things. That's what their clothing's like. It's fun, it's wild, it's pretty out there, it's pretty bright. So those guys have been really good. Asher Gloves have started helping me out this year. Sent me a few gloves, and they seem quite keen as well.
Man, I'm so glad you came on the podcast. I just want to wrap it up by asking you a few questions. Number one, what is your outlook on the game of golf moving forward? Do you think that some of the changes that are being made, like I'm so excited about the changes that are happening over there with the new head of the European Tour, just being so forward-thinking and innovative. The RNA's putting out, guidelines and suggestions for speeding up play. So, are you bullish on golf in the future, or what do you see happening? And then tell me your thoughts on speed golf and how you think we can continue to grow this sport.
Yeah, well, working with kids, I know how they tick.
Yeah.
And the idea of sprint golf or speed golf or anything that's a little bit more chaotic than original golf, it's definitely going to up participation with the youngsters.
Yeah.
Rob Hogan once sort of said to me that his daughter hits a golf ball and she automatically runs. He's never told her to run. And it's exactly what my daughter does. She's only 2.5, but she's got a plastic golf club, big plastic ball. She hits it up the garden or at the golf course, and she runs.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it's great fun. It's great for me to see, and she loves it. And I think if the European Tour can continue to push something like sprint golf or speed golf, and they can get the participation up, they're going to find some very, very talented people out there, and golf will benefit from it.
Yeah. Well, awesome, man. So if people want to follow you on social media, I know you're active out there.
Yeah.
Let them know where they can do that.
Well, if you're on Facebook, you can just type in Steve Jeffs. Hopefully you see my picture and you can follow me on there.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to do most of my speed golf stuff on Twitter, and that's at Jeffs Steve. And I'm on Instagram as well. I think that's Speed Golf Steve.
Perfect.
So yeah, give me a follow if you're interested, and if you've got any questions, or if you want to try speed golf out for the first time, and I'll come out and have a run with you.
Yeah, and I'll post that in the show notes as well. So your plans upcoming are the UK Championships in August, which I'm trying to make it out there, man. If I can, I will. I really want to start playing internationally.
Yeah, you should try and get over it. I'd offer you a place to stay, but I'll be staying at a hotel or a B&B.
Yeah.
But the guys at British Speed Golf do such a good job organising. They make it really professional, and they're very good. So it's a great event.
And then what about the Worlds? You thinking about coming?
Yeah, it's all but guaranteed. Well, not guaranteed, but it's high on my agenda. Basically, I need to do some fundraising because I can't afford to pay for it myself.
Yeah.
I'll chuck some funds towards it. I'm going to try and do a crowdfunding website.
It's a great idea.
Yeah. So I'm hoping to launch that maybe in the next few days.
Okay.
And the guys at Royal and Awesome, Asher Gloves, they've sort of given me some prizes. I'm going to try and do like a big raffle, try and raise a bit of money in the local golf clubs and a few other places. There's a place called West Country Golf Academy in Sanford Peveril, which is in Devon. A really classy 9-hole par 3 course with loads of water, and it's really challenging. That's what keeps my short game good. Those guys have agreed to help me out. Coombe Cellars, a restaurant in Newton Abbot in Devon. They've given me prizes as well for the raffle.
Fantastic.
There's one more guy called Lewis Hannay. He's a professional at Oak Manor. Real nice, friendly, funny guy. He's offered some free lessons with a track man. So, I'm going to do a raffle, try and raise some money, do a crowdfunding, raise some money, and I can't see me not going.
Yeah, that's exciting, man. I'm excited to see you there.
Yeah, worst comes to worst, I'll chuck it on a credit card.
And just make it happen, yeah.
Yeah, I'll make it happen, and I want to compete with the best people in the world and just see what happens.
Yeah.
I just want to compete with the elite at a World Championships, and hopefully have a great time.
It's a special experience, I'll say that. I'm really excited for you. It's like you probably experienced at the UK Championships. It's such a great community. It's like the running community, if you get out and run in a race or whatever, everyone's just so friendly. Everybody wants everybody to do great. They're all
Yeah.
for you. It's competitive, but only at a personal level.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be staying that way. So
Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to it.
awesome, Steve. Well, thanks for coming on the podcast. We appreciate it, and perhaps we can have you back on after the Worlds and see
that'd be
what
great.
that experience was like.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, I'd love to come back on. Yeah,
Awesome.
I've enjoyed speaking with you.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Cheers, Scott.
Okay. Bye-bye.
See ya. Bye.
All right, episode 23 in the books with British Speedgolf ambassador Steve Jeffs. Quality conversation. Really makes you think. And hey, maybe next time you go out, play a little bit quicker. Pick up the pace. Get uncomfortable in your routine. Get uncomfortable with your fitness level. And see what that does. See if you don't feel more like you're playing from the heart instead of playing from the mind. I want to thank you for listening today and every week. We're going to continue to bring you the thought leaders, the pioneers, the entrepreneurs, the innovators, and the game changers in the golf industry. You can support our efforts by following us on Facebook /Pace of Change and Twitter at Pace of Change Pod. Visit our website, paceofchange.com. Sign up for our newsletter. It'll keep you up to speed on the latest POC podcast news, announcements, and updates. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we're on iTunes, so make sure you subscribe there and leave a review. Please take a few minutes to do that if you are a consistent listener. That really makes a difference, bumps us up in the rankings, and it gives other golf fans a chance to hear what we're bringing to you every week. Every action you take makes a bigger difference than you can imagine, so thank you for taking the time to do that. Okay, guys, until next week, pick up the pace, play from the heart. We'll talk to you then.